Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. Today's topic, wild partnerships, parasites, pollinators, and more. Presented by NatHab Expedition Leader Arpita Dutta. I'm your host, Rob Mess. Thank you all so much for being with us today. Over to you, Arpita.
Thank you so much, Rob, and thank you everyone for tuning in today. It's been wonderful always, and this, I must tell you that this topic came to my mind is because I've been just thinking, like I was reading the new catalog and stuff, and what beautiful pictures the catalog had. I mean, this year catalog, I'm absolutely in love with it. So I was going through it and stuff, and I was just reading through it, and I find that, yeah, I mean, it's only like with NatHab, not only guests, we also share a wonderful relationship. I mean, it's a relationship of trust, a mutual respect, and of course, it's a understanding. So while thinking of all this, honestly, I said, yeah, of course, why not we do a webinar on the relationship, the different kinds of relationship has been prevailing between the wildlife. So this is how this webinar got created. And so, sorry. Okay, for I'm just I'll just ask for an apology because I'm having a sore throat. I don't know, I've been like getting on and off this problem, but I'll try. But in between, if I cough and it creates a lot of disturbance, so please forgive me for that. And so yes, and wildlife or the natural world, it's like they are always in a, or they are getting into a dependency most of the time, and among the species, and that is how the balance is maintained. Of course, we know that if anything goes out from the environment or from the world, something or the other get affected, and that affected part actually get prolonged by other species who are involved into it. So somehow, to maintain the balance, and dependency and understanding dependency is very important while we are staying together. Especially for the first picture over here, we all know that the pollinators are so essential for all the living organism, or even the, if I say, the health of the planet depends on them, because they are the one which, broadly, the more, even we can't even think that how many trees we have planted, but the pollinators have been doing a fabulous job, been so many million years. But today we are going to get a little more in depth of this. So, okay, just a moment. Yeah. So the types of relationship we get to see in the wild is the mutualism, where there is symbiotic relationship, and which is, and this mutualism can produce like surprisingly amazing relationship, which is a strong interdependence between the species. So there should be two species, and they have been like living together and for the mutual benefit without harming each other. And when they are living in a close proximity, that in their entire life, it becomes a symbiotic relationship. And then we have the parasitism. We know that parasites, of course, one organism get harmed and the other gets the benefit, and rather harmed, or they get killed as well. And another one is the commensalism, which means there would be two or three organisms, but none of them are affected by the other. But at the same time, one organism, it's getting the benefit due to that other organism. So we will talk about this more in little detail. So before we proceed, we start with the mutualism, okay, and the symbiotic relationship. So of course, so it's an ecological interaction between the two different species, and they are living for their benefit. So the first benefit, or the benefitor, it comes like the fig, wasp, and the fig. One of my favorite topic to discuss about first is the fig. You know, it's like they are the tropical plants with numerous species around the world, and fig tree has no visible flowers, and that makes it more like increase the curiosity that how do they like reproduce, or how do they get distributed in this entire zone. I mean, imagine this tropical zone, it's so huge, but they could manage to be everywhere. I mean, every habitat has a kind of one or two, three different species of figs, so they are well distributed. And sorry, and for this wasp, so before I start, let me tell you that we always, I mean, my grandmother used to tell that when you are having a fig, open it, see it, and then you won't feel like having it. Sometimes it's fig is better that you put it in the mouth and just chew it and have it. So the thing is, the inside the figs, if you look through like the I mean through the microscope, there would be a lot of thing which is moving. I'll come to that. Before that, I would say that because fig is very unique because we don't see the flower. The flower is inside in fluorescence type, and so they need a good and unique pollinator as well. So they are pollinated by very small wasp of family like Aganodidae. Don't have to remember, they're very, very tiny. You can imagine if this is the fig surface, you can see the small hair out here, and you can see the size of the wasp. And they are so small and insignificant that they get unnoticed, of course. That's how the line came that you eat the fig at a go. So when the female flower inside the mature fruit are ready to pollinate, the fig emits an enticing aroma that attracts only female wasp. You know, specific type for the tree. That means every wasp is not for every fig tree. They have very specific species of wasp for the specific species of figs. And the struggle to get inside through a small opening at the end of the fig. And while doing that, this wasp loses its wings, even sometimes the pieces of their antenna. But not to worry, they don't need it anymore, I mean, in their life. And so what they do is the female go inside, they move around a bit, and then they lay the egg inside the future seeds, which will nourish its like progeny, and also spreading the pollens it has collected from the fig it was born. So imagine the life cycle of it. The female was born somewhere. While coming out, it carried a lot of pollens of that fig, and when it got inside, and it will die there after laying the egg. And before dying, the movement they do inside, they actually release the pollens out there. That's how the fig's flower get fertilized, or the seed, the fruit forms. And so after fulfilling its life mission, the female die inside the fig, and the egg become like grubs, or you can call all the nematodes type. And when they complete the full development, the male starts looking for the female. I mean, they emerge first and they start looking for the female to mate after emerging. So that is the only work. And after mating, the male dies. This is how. So imagine this is like the male fig wasp entire life is spent inside that fig. They never see the outside world. That is how it happens. How interesting that is. And so, and when the female emerges out, they have already fertilized and sort of looking for like another fig. I mean, when they mate with the male, they're already, their eggs are fertilized and they come out. Again, the same process happen. They go inside another another fig and they pollinate in this way. How incredible that is. I mean, this is a beautiful relationship, but because they need both of them through the entire life cycle in their life. And this type of mutualism or this type of symbiotic relationship is called the obligate mutualism, where they spend their lifetime with each other, like from the starting from the egg till they grow big. So this obligate mutualism says this. Next, I'll go to this we know because we all the leguminous plants they have something special. So it's a relationship they share with a kind of bacteria called rhizobia or the rhizobia. And this rhizobial bacteria colonize around the leguminous plant in the soil. Now, before I proceed, there is one thing that when there is, if not a leguminous plant, if there are other trees, how if the bacteria survive or not? Actually, with the evolution, even plants have learned to kill those bacteria or to protect themselves from the bacteria. So they don't actually get along with each other. But with the leguminous plants, what they do is this bacteria, they can actually fix atmospheric nitrogen. And there is a symbiotic, like the symbiotic bacteria invade the root hair of which is like so like unicellular root hair. You can imagine how small it could be, and of that host plant, and then they multiply and stimulate like the formation of the root nodules. This bulgy thing what you see here, they are the root nodules. Okay, and within this nodule, the bacteria convert the atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia that can be used by the plant. So, and for this, and the plant gives shelter and food to this bacteria. Imagine over here, we, or rather in the farmland, we generally have seen that after the first harvestation, a lot of leguminous plant, we do a lot of plantation of leguminous plants. And it says that the soil should get back the nutrition. And because of that fixing nitrogen thing, the soil enriches again. So in India, we definitely do a lot of, after the millets, then wheat, paddy, after all this harvestation, the field will be full of leguminous plants. So to fix the soil again for the next plantation, I mean, of the paddy next sowing. Yeah. So of course, so this is an amazing another relationship between the two. And again, this is a symbiotic relationship. Next is so favorite of mine, to look at it, to learn about it, and to study about this one, are the lichens. And it's my favorite because, in different areas, you find different kind of lichens, and there are more than 3,000 different species of lichens, and they are absolutely stunning. And I always feel that, in a tropical deciduous or a tropical rainforest, the trees were beautiful and colorful coat because of these lichens. I mean, no matter what you see, if you look through the different shades, how it makes it looks like a painting. I mean, when I'm talking, I'm actually getting the visualization of that, the tall pine trees in the mountain forest, and you see beautiful patches of lichens have grown on it, and it looks so stunning. So lichens are, before I go to lichens, we have to know this too. So lichens are the result of like a strange symbiotic relationship between the fungus and the algae, and sometimes the cyanobacteria as well. So what is fungus? We know that they are definitely a diverse group of organisms separate from the plants, of course, and the fungi do not contain chlorophyll, and they rely on other organisms for their nutrition. This we know, and they are very important, especially for networking. You know, the World Wood Web. I mean, how they create all the network. So they are very important. And then the algae, like a different. They are also from a different kingdom and separated from plants and fungi, and they are of different colors of red, green, yellow, all this, and even blue, and can survive in salty and fresh water by themselves. They don't really need any help when there is a water. And the green algae have the ability of photosynthesis, so they can prepare their own food. And in lichen, the dominant partner is though fungi, which gives the major characteristic of the lichen. I mean, starting from the thalamus to the fruiting bodies. So now how the partnership goes. So what happens is the in the lichen, the algae is sandwiched between the fungus. Just take it, think in that way. And the fungus have the freedom to leave its usual habitat because the algae is providing food. Generally, we have seen that fungus grow in those, dead and decaying matter in the forest floors. That has to have a moisture and everything. But over here, to get the food, because they cannot create by some, to get the nutrients, they need that forest floor or some dead wood, whatever, I mean, which is there. But they can live independent because algae is there and providing them that food. And algae can leave its water body habitat and be protected by the elements from the fungus. Of course, the moisture that's controlling the moisture, it gets in the fungus, and that's how the algae can live, not on the watery ground, but actually above the ground. And the lichen is like a power duo. It grows on rigid rocks, paved paths, benches, fences. I mean, there are so many places we get to see these lichens. And during even seasonal changes, imagine when it's winter, a lot of animals, birds, they do migrate. But for the lichens, they kind of alive and thriving no matter what the temperature is. Even buried under the sheet of snow, once the snow is over, you would see those lichens fresh and with those colors. So they are so special. And the best speciality of the lichens are they are extremely sensitive to the surroundings. And lichen absorbs pollutants from the atmosphere. That makes them a bioindicator, and I mean bioindicator of the pollutant, and they are amazingly helpful even while describing a habitat or to get to know a habitat. When we go for a survey and all, we see the types of lichens are there in that forest, which makes us feel that okay, this is there, too much of lichen is there, so the pollution would be definitely less than other areas. So yeah, when we see a lichen, it's not only the color and all, they actually purify the air as well. Okay, next goes to the aphids and ants. So I keep on looking at them. Recently, I've posted a video on Instagram as well, because on my terrace, I found so many activities of this ant, wasp, and this aphids. So aphids, what are aphids? You see this, there's a, looks like a mite, but they are a little different than that. And the small bug, which feeds by sucking the sap from the plants. And they produce rapidly. Rapidly means rapidly. I mean, every time I remove them, and within couple of days I see them again, they are back to the apex of the plant, because there are softer tissues and it is easier for them to suck the sap from there. Excuse me. Yeah. And if they are like prolonged enough to stay there, they can, I mean, they cause extensive damage to the plant. And and then we have these ants who are ready to protect the aphids. So they share a well-documented symbiotic relationship and surviving with mutual benefit. So here what happens, aphids collect this sugar, which is rich, sugar-rich fluid from this host plant. And the aphids consume large quantities of plant sap and to gain adequate nutrition from there. And after that, they excrete equally large quantities of waste as the sugary substrate called honeydew, and becomes the sugar-rich meal for the ant. Now you know why they protect them, but how they protect them. The ants also even have seen that milking the aphid, and some aphids, they don't excrete unless and until some stimuli is there. So what the ant does is it go close with its antenna, it keeps touching the aphid's body, and then it actually do the excretion. They just poop out this sugary honeydew. And the aphid, like heading I mean, rather I would say, who do rearing, like how the tiger reared the cubs, so protective about their cubs. Of course, these ants are way, like, too much protective about these tiny bugs, which are the aphids. And what they do, you can imagine. So what they do is, I mean, the main motive is for the ant is to protect them, to feed them well, so that they can get a continuous supply of this honeydew. So if they see that the nutrition of the plant is reducing, they would carry their aphid to a different plant where they can get the perfect source of nutrition, one. And second, even they carry the aphid eggs to their nest where the temperature will be controlled. Especially it has been seen in winter that the ants are protecting the egg so that they get, again, when they grow up, and they will have their own meal source. And of course, they have, I mean, these are there. And also, if any other insects or any intruders comes in, so they aggressively protect the aphids. Even the aphid eggs, which have been like mostly infested by the ladybugs. You know, ladybugs feed on them. So the ants sometimes even kill the egg of the ladybugs to protect their aphids. So not only the ladybugs, they kill their egg when they see it, when there is aphids around and the depending ants. But though after listening all this, or after knowing all this, seems like it's such a hard-working caregiver, right? But it's actually not. Its only motive is to get that honeydew. So sometimes what happens when there are too many aphids, the aphids grow wings so that they can fly to some different place, different area. But what happened is, it has been seen that the ants are tearing their wings so that they don't go anywhere. They can't go anywhere. So they doesn't even allow, they enslave the aphid. They don't allow their aphids to be out from that area. Imagine. And also they use semiochemicals to stop the aphids from developing wings and to impede their ability to walk away. Can you imagine even releasing chemicals like which changes the physiology of the aphid? This is absolutely an amazing, I mean, though it is a symbiotic relationship, a mutual relationship, but this is definitely, I would say, the ant enslaved them like this, though they do protect themselves, do care about the aphids. See, this is how they colonize with the aphids. And next is the ant and the fungus. This is an interesting thing, you know, because we do farming, or maybe we have been doing farming almost 10 to 12,000 years, could be. I mean, from the ancestors, how they had started. But this ant species might have started farming or like producing food uh, more than like almost 60 million years before. They are the species of Attine ant, Attine, Attine ant. So this Attine ants with evolution has lost the ability to the important, I mean, release of the important amino acid. Okay, and which is very much required for them. But they get that from this fungus. So how everything happens? I mean, even since they are even they have a structure, like, you know, the higher farming structure and the lower farming structure, and they have been changing with evolution since then. And what they do is, if you have seen a leaf cutter ant, which you have this picture here, they actually taking those leaves inside their hole, their nest, and to keep those leaves to make a forest floor kind of a forage for the fungus to grow on them. I mean, it's the nutrition for the fungus to be there. And so this is how, imagine, it's such a hard work they do. I mean, almost they carry double of their size of the leaf, and they come together, selecting the right piece of the leaf and getting colonized out there. I mean, this is absolutely, and there are actually a lot of species are there in the western side. I mean, in south, central, even the not in the northern, but yeah, the south and central America. There are a lot of this Attine ant species, and you might be seeing in the forest floor that they are like cutting all these leaf pieces and moving towards their nest. Try to follow them. If you have ever find them, then you know that there is a fungus. They are actually growing, they are farming it. So what has happened, the scientists actually say that you know, this almost 34 million years back, the things have little changed with the evolution. Is the After all this, the KPG Act as the catalyst for the first agricultural resolution. So we really don't have many fossils, but from the DNA samples and the filament have been received from the ant body, which are in the amber, that has been shown that initially they have started this farming, but after this devastating thing, the environment of the planet has changed, and it has even cooled down, and there are many dry areas. So what did this ant do is, which is like the higher you know, way of farming, is they have carried the fungus to the drier region, and they have been providing the food for the fungus. And with that, the fungus have become completely domesticated. They have lost their ability to be or to grow like their free cousins which are there on the forest floors. So these ants make this fungus completely dependent on them. I mean, how crazy does it sounds? I mean, this is an absolutely a I mean, a mind-boggling thing, that how, being an ant, they have that thoughts that these fungus should not go out of their way, and that's the reason why they have the ability, or they could domesticated them. And all this fungi only found in the higher agricultural antine ant colony. So they develop some specific adaptation out there. How beautiful like relationship is there, but though it has make it dependent on the ant, though they provide benefits to each other. Next is the grooming, the groomers. Or when we talk about the grooming part, I think this is a very common visual we come across whenever we are out in the wild. We do have those kind of birds as well, but not exactly the oxpecker, but we do have other birds which do, it's like mynas and stuff. They do keep picking all the insects, parasites from the body of the animal, from the fur animal. And the animals give them a free ride, and they are getting a source of food from by eating those insects. And of course, they do another thing over here. We find that as they are on the top of the animals, especially you would see, if you come down, you will see with rhinos and elephants it's happened, especially with rhinos, and they would be there. And if any movement and stuff is there, the birds will fly, and the rhino become alert about the presence or about the disturbance. But yes, this grooming part makes a lot of a beautiful, I mean, no harm, nothing, but a beautiful mutual relationship and a mutual respect, that they don't harm each other, but actually helping each other in such a way. Okay, and then let's come to the parasitism. So parasitism is common in ecological interaction in wildlife, where one organism known as the parasites get benefit, and of course the other organism or the host die or doesn't get any benefits, or rather doesn't get any, they would kill the host, especially. That's the parasite. So I'll speak about the parasitic wasp first. So what they do is, you can see the over here, they are actually laying the egg on the caterpillar out here. And so what will happen, they will grow, these eggs will come out, the grub will grow inside the caterpillar, and they will slowly, I mean, the larva injects, when the larva forms, they injects the host with like a potent venom that, you know, and that zombies the caterpillar. They will do their work, I mean, they will do feed, because they need nutrition. Even the grub inside it, they need nutrition, so they won't stop the caterpillar doing that. But once they grow, then they slowly they would finish the caterpillar out there. So this is like how the parasitic wasp work. Even they do the same thing with the spider as well. In case of a spider, they kind of hijack the nervous system, and they will act as a zombie, and they will build the nest for the wasp and all. Once it is done, then they finish, they kill, they feed on those on the spiders. Next is one of the plant, and you will quite find, I mean, in central India we have many of this mistletoes. And what mistletoe is, a parasitic plant, so they cannot grow on the ground, they have to be on the tree, because they need the nutrition from it, and they kill it eventually. But at the same time, mistletoe has another amazing pollinator, I mean, the system of pollination, I would say. So though this is a parasitic one, but their pollination happens in a very different way. So especially this species of, I mean, the species of mistletoe we get to see here, when they form the seed coat is very tough. So what happens, this beautiful red flowers attracts a lot of birds, like flower pecker, sunbirds. So they feed on that, and they feed on those seeds, even nuthatch, all this, and they feed on that seeds. And when they poop, they actually, this is half digested, the seed coat is removed that time in their poop. And they, of course, the birds, they poop on the tree branches, and again from there another mistletoe grows. So this is how they kind of get that tree, the host tree, completely jagged from everywhere, and eventually the tree dies. Dies out, but it takes time. But yeah, this is how even the plant parasitism happens. Next is the brood parasitism. So I think most of us, we know about it, that the quail, the cuckoo birds, they don't build nest, and they just keep their babies like completely in hand of the host. Whom they need to grow, and they are not bothered, and this big one, or when they hatch, the cuckoo birds chick hatch, they actually push the other birds chick, so that the competition becomes less. This is something we know. But over here, I want to like focus on one thing right now, is the climate change. So we know that climate change actually making a lot of things happen, especially in the wildlife, in their life, because evolution takes a long time, and due to this rapid climate change, they are not getting enough time to evolve with the scenario. But what they have done is, they have changed their time of nesting. So what happens, imagine the one which the host who is about to feed it, so they have changed their nesting time, because of course, because of the climate, either it's warm or it's monsoon, however it is. So these parasitic birds, they have also waited for the host to start building the nest, and then they have mated, they know that now they are making the nest, so now it's my time to lay the egg. So they have also changed. They haven't continued with that. They have changed even with the host nesting period. And due to climate change, this different behavior is also very prominent in this wildlife. But this is amazing. Like, it's not only that, okay, I need to lay egg to a host nest. It is not. They are so calculative. Imagine like imagine that. Give me a moment, please. Sorry. Thank you. So next we have the commensalism. So when we talk about commensalism, it's like one-sided benefit or the neutral effect on the host when there. So it's mainly is a type of ecological relationship between two different species, in which, like, on species, like one species benefits from the association and the other is neither significantly harmed or helped. Of course, it's one-sided. It's just the one-sided love I had for our Indian cricketer Rahul Dravid. So I know he will never know that how much I'm crazy about him, but I still love him. Okay. So yeah, this is more, whenever you think around your backyard, or you see some animals, you see there is one-sided benefits is happening. So this is the commensalism, but the other is definitely not harmed. That is very important. So in commensalism, there are few different types. That is Inquilinism, which is like permanent housing. We see all these epiphytic plants growing on the tree branch. Epiphytic plants are not parasite. They absorb nutrients and water from the air, and they just need the other organisms to form the structure. They need it for the structural health, but not for any parasitism. But over there, and they grow on that on that tree. So it doesn't end, like once they bloom it's over, nothing like that. So of course this is like when you're making a home, so the tree is not getting affected, neither getting benefited, but I feel it gets a little bit of external benefits, which we see that the tree looks beautiful. The tropical trees, which has so much of broad leaves and all, and when you have the tree trunks and stuff is full with orchids, just right at the pre-monsoon and after the first shower we see the blooms, the tree look extraordinary, of course, but for the tree it's really doesn't matter. So this is like this with animal, definitely just like the owls, I mean in the tree holes, they take a shelter, the tree is leaving, the owl is not doing like harming anything, the tree is not getting any benefits of it, but they have made a home, a permanent habitat on that other organisms habitat. So this is how it is. Next is the metabiosis. The metabiosis means I am taking, like one is taking the entire habitat of the other organism without affecting. So here, the hermit crab change shelter once they start growing. They change shelter. Change the shell of their home from any dead gastropod shell. So they keep changing, so they have taken this entire shell which used to be the habitat of the gastropod. So this is how we can define the metabiosis. Even the maggots, when they're living in some animals wounded area, that is also metabiosis, because they have formed their habitat in other organism habitat, though the the other organism definitely gets, it's not benefit, but definitely they are a bit harmed when there are maggots, but it's that when we consider the habitat part, then definitely they also take that habitat along with this. And the next one is the foresay. So here they use as a transport, when one organism use another organism for the transport, and this is the best example of it, because we see our dogs and cats, they go out in the garden and come with so many seeds like attached on them, and then it's a big task to remove them because they get so entangled. And of course this is how the dispersal happens. So this is, the dog is not getting harmed, of course, there is no physical harm happens, and so they are getting a benefit that they are traveling from one place to another. Same thing happens with other mites, other organism with that. Sometimes even turtles get a ride on a hippo or a rhino or a croc maybe. So when they are passing, they're nicely sit in the back of the organism and they take a transport. So that is also for say commensalism. Okay. Next is the microbiota. So we know this, our bacterial, like commensal organism that forms a community within the host. So these bacteria are like grow like a community in the organism. For example, we have our bacterial flora found inside our skin and the gut, and though there are disagreements that whether they have this because they do give protection. Over here there is a benefits, like no benefits thing, but of course they give a protection to the to the host, and that makes it different. But what happens is, in our gut, imagine we have good bacteria, right? And what do they do is, it can supply essential nutrients, synthesize vitamin K, aid in digestion of cellulose, and promote your angiogenesis and enteric nervous function. And of course, it keeps everything working inside the gut. So that's why we say that to stay healthy, your gut health has to be good. That's why we eat a lot of probiotic as well. So yeah, this they actually do a lot of benefit. So there is a little doubt, but of course this falls till now. This falls under the bacterial flora, still falls under the microbiota. So this is another relationship where there is the community, like they form the like organism community forms inside the host. Okay, and next, which is interesting, is the shark and the remora fish. You know, this is one example. I mean, there are many, of course, but this is a very prominent example where there is mutualism, commensalism, parasitism. I mean, all three are there in this one thing. Let's see how. So mutual thing is, so before that, let me tell you, this remora fish, mostly the sucker, when we talk about sucker, we think about it is there in the mouth, right? But in the remora fish, their sucker is on the top of their head. And actually what happens when this is like the dorsal fin of them, which has formed like this. Imagine, evolution is so interesting. I mean, the creation, their need has led to a different structure altogether. This is so interesting. So what they do is they get attached to the shark, and whenever the shark is having some food, some chunks actually fall off and they feed on that. And with that, the shark gets a little grooming from the remora fish. This is mutualism. Okay. And then what about your commensalism? That they are attached to it, where the shark is not getting any benefit, but of course they are there. I mean, it is not bothering the shark. They are taking a ride, exactly the transport, the foray, how we see, of the shark. And now the parasitism. So while removing and everything parasites from the shark, like grooming the shark, apart from that, sometimes in manta rays and even in shark, there would be too many, remora fish would be attached to the host, that it slows down their movement. And not only that, continuous sucking on the host actually gives them a lot of skin trouble. Exactly what, I don't know, even I have to go through it, that what kind of skin problem do they grow while when the constant sucker is stuck. And that also happens when there are too many and for a too long time. So these are the three types of relationship we get to see between the remora and the shark, or the manta rays, or other big animals inside, marine animals. Yeah, let's say like that. So this is how it is. And we have this incredible and beautiful relationship which is sustaining in and around us. And of course we build another we build not only interesting but inquisitive relationship with nature. And that's the reason why whenever there is a holiday, we start moving, packing our bag, going for campaign, going for other trips, seeing the country. So that's a kind of a thing that we try to find out, that whatever is happening around us. And this is such a beautiful thing to know about. And of course, though this is the last one, and but still, imagine the croc. That's huge croc mouth is open, and this plover is picking up all the tits and bits which is left inside its mouth or just stuck inside the teeth, and it's feeding on them. So it's like a personal cleaner, personal groomer the croc has, and the croc does nothing to this bird. Imagine one snap and the bird is gone, but it doesn't. It just keeps it open. Once the grooming is done, the plover is out, then they put their jaw back together. So we hope that we keep on seeing and we keep on enjoying the relationships between the animals, and witnessing them in front makes it more beautiful, and just observing gives you so much of pleasure. And yeah, so thank you so much. Rob, I'm ready to take.
All right, sorry about that. Now, before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that you can submit your questions via the question field in your control panel. All right, let's get to some questions right now. So, what happens to the wasp after, it's been inside the fig? Do we end up eating it?
Kind of, yes. Yeah, it's funny. It's very funny. But of course, maybe the fig produces a lot of fruit. So not all the fruit has the wasp. It's just the pollination happens. So maybe if the fruit, if the tree is bearing like 100, maybe out of that, maybe only 2 to 5% maybe the wasp would use for their egg laying thing. And of course, the fig uses that for pollination.
Thank you. So, do the sharks have any way to get the remora off?
No, generally they don't. And sometimes what it has been seen, rather, that the sharks sometimes try to move with the jar, but their sucker is so, you have seen it. I mean, it's so strong that it's difficult to get rid of them. But yeah, so that's the reason why they end up having so many on their body, because they cannot remove it easily.
Great, thank you for answering that. But it looks like that's all the questions that we do have for today. So I'm going to throw it back to you for some closing comments.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And it's been always a pleasure. And I'm sorry, my throat is not doing really well. And I hope you observe and you take a field note. You never know, trust me, because of climate change, how things are happening around us. It's very different, especially in the wildlife area. So keep a notebook or wherever. Start taking field notes whenever you see some observation, and get back to any science or research organization to get it published, because nowadays we see a lot of different behavior animals are coming up to. Thank you. Have a great day ahead and a great weekend ahead. And thank you so much, Rob, for hosting it so nicely. And you have a great weekend too. Thank you.
And thank you, Arpita. You take care of yourself now. Thank you for presenting for us today. And I'd also like to thank everyone who tuned in today. Now, if you are interested in information on how you can travel with us at NatHab, please give us a call at the number on your screen, or you can send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. Join us tomorrow for our next Daily Dose of Nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.